I took a night shift just to afford my stepson's braces. Last week, he slammed my car door and said something that made me rethink everything I sacrificed. I, 38M, don't even know where to begin. I've been married to my wife, 36F, for 4 years now. She has a son, Ryan, 14M, from a previous relationship. His biological dad isn't in the picture. He left when Ryan was 6 and hasn't really made any effort to come back. So when I married my wife, I told myself I'd step up and be the father figure Ryan needed. It wasn't always easy. Ryan's a good kid, but he's been through a lot. Therapy, mood swings, acting out in school. I figured that was normal given his situation. I did my best to be patient, kind, involved. I taught him how to ride a bike. Took him to soccer practice. Stayed up helping him with math homework even when I was dead tired from work. I didn't push him to call me dad. I never expected that, but I always showed up. About 8 months ago, the dentist told us Ryan needed braces badly. His teeth were getting worse and it was starting to affect his speech and confidence. Insurance didn't cover much and the out-of-pocket cost was over $5,000. My wife cried when we got the estimate. We were already tight on money, living paycheck to paycheck. She suggested we wait a year. But I couldn't do that. I grew up poor. I had jacked up teeth until I was 20 and could finally afford Invisalign on my own. I remember how people looked at me, laughed, made comments. I didn't want that for Ryan. So I picked up a night shift as a security guard. On top of my day job. That meant working 8 to 4, then again 10 to 4 a.m. and somehow finding time to sleep and function in between. I was exhausted all the time. I missed family dinners. I missed TV nights. I missed my wife. But we paid for the braces. I felt proud of that. Like I was doing right by him. Fast forward to last week. I picked Ryan up from school because my wife was stuck at work. He got in the car, slammed the door, clearly pissed off. I asked him what was wrong. He goes, "It's just annoying having you pick me up. Everyone knows you're not even my real dad." I didn't say anything right away. I just sat there. He kept going, "I mean, no offense, but it's weird. You're just like my mom's husband. You don't have to act like you care." He got out of the car, slammed the door again, and walked inside. I just sat there for maybe 15 minutes, staring at the steering wheel. I had worked 6 days straight with no sleep longer than a nap. My back hurt. My head hurt. I had a damn cough that wouldn't go away. I was running myself into the ground. For what? My wife talked to him later and made him apologize. He came in with that stiff, eye-rolling teenage voice. "Sorry I said that stuff in the car." I nodded. That was it. Since then, I've been distant. I'm not trying to punish him. I know teenagers say dumb, cruel things. I know he probably didn't mean it like a knife to the heart. But it did cut deep. It made me question everything. Not just whether he appreciates what I do, but whether I'm doing this whole stepdad thing right. Whether I'm just playing house, pouring myself out for a kid who maybe never wanted me here in the first place. I'm not asking for a thank you every day. I'm not asking to be called dad. I just wanted to feel like I mattered to him. That all these sacrifices weren't just noise in the background of his life. Have any other step-parents gone through something like this? Do you just keep giving even when it feels like you're invisible? I'm not sure how much more I have left in the tank. Update. I didn't expect so many responses to my original post. I read every comment, even the tough love ones. Honestly, it helped more than I thought it would. Some of you reminded me that being a parent, step or not, is often a thankless job, especially during the teenage years. Others reminded me that my feelings were valid and that it's okay to feel hurt. So, thank you. Sincerely. It's been about 10 days since that moment in the car. Things were tense at first. I kept a bit of emotional distance, not out of spite, but self-preservation. I felt like I had to take a step back just to breathe. My wife noticed, and we had a long talk after Ryan went to bed. She said something that stuck with me. "You stepped into a broken space and tried to build a home in it. That's never going to be easy. But don't confuse silence for failure." That hit. A few nights later, I was up late, night shift again, and when I came home, I found something weird. A note. Not a text. Not a post-it. A full-on, handwritten note on lined paper, folded and left next to my keys. It said, "Hey, I know I was a jerk in the car. I didn't mean it like that. I was just mad about some stuff at school and took it out on you. I know you're not my real dad, but I didn't mean you're not important. You've done a lot for me. I do notice. Even if I suck at showing it. Sorry. It wasn't Shakespeare. But I sat down at the kitchen table and cried like I hadn't in years." Ryan came downstairs the next morning, trying to act casual like the note didn't happen. I didn't push. I just gave him a pat on the back and told him thanks. That meant more than you know. He just nodded and opened the fridge like it was no big deal. But it was. Since then, things have been slowly better. He's still a teen, moody, sarcastic, sometimes closed off, but I see the cracks in the wall now. He asked if I wanted to come watch his soccer scrimmage this weekend. That's the first time he's invited me to anything. I'm still working nights, but I cut down to just 3 shifts a week. We're managing the finances. Barely. But I realized I was trying to prove something, maybe to him, maybe to myself, by running myself into the ground. That's not what he needs. He just needs someone who stays. And I'm staying. Thanks again to everyone who shared their stories, advice, and tough truths. I know now that love doesn't always look like a Hallmark movie. Sometimes it looks like a 14-year-old boy writing a half-legible apology note in pencil on his math homework. And that's enough for me. Final update. Hi Reddit. It's been a few years since I posted. Life got busy, and honestly, I didn't think I'd ever come back here. But something happened recently that made me remember this thread and all the advice and empathy strangers once gave me. I figured I owed it to you and to myself to close this out. So, the short version, Ryan is 17 now. He's taller than me, driving God help us, and applying to colleges. He wants to major in something techie, computer engineering, or programming. He has this dry, sarcastic sense of humor, and he's got a close-knit group of friends. He's doing okay. Better than okay, honestly. We've had ups and downs like any family. Some days, we click. Other days, he holes up in his room and barely speaks. But he's grown. He's matured. And little by little, so has our relationship. Last weekend, we were getting ready for his senior awards night. He didn't tell us much typical, but when we got there, we found out he was being recognized for a community mentorship program he started at school. He'd helped tutor a few freshmen who were struggling, and apparently one of them had written a recommendation letter that got him nominated for the award. When they called his name, he walked up, shook hands, gave the usual awkward teenage half-smile. But then the teacher reading the bio said something that stopped me cold. She said Ryan credits his stepfather for teaching him the value of showing up even when it's hard and for showing him that real fathers aren't always the ones who share your DNA. I looked over at my wife and she was already crying. I just sat there stunned. I didn't know he even saw me like that, let alone told someone. Later that night, when we got home, I pulled him aside. I asked if he really wrote that. He looked at me, shrugged, and said, yeah. I mean, it's true. And then, not all dramatic, not all emotional, he gave me a side hug. Not one of those stiff ones out of obligation. A real one. A quiet one. And in that second, all the exhaustion, all the late nights, all the slammed doors and quiet dinners and wondering if I was ever really a parent, it just faded. I've never felt prouder of him. Or more at peace with everything I gave up. So that's it, Reddit. That's the end of this little story. I went from being just mom's husband to the man he quietly calls his father in front of his school. It wasn't easy. It took time. And a hell of a lot of patience. But if you're a step-parent reading this, wondering if you're making a difference, you are. Even when they don't say it. Even when they push you away. Keep showing up. Eventually, they notice. And one day, they might just say something that makes every sacrifice worth it. Thanks for being there when I needed it. Truly.